wondering, what has been your experience with, or there you may or may not, but universities actually providing training in classroom management? How aware are you of universities doing this? And if they aren't, which from what I understand is only 1 out of 3 universities, why aren't they, and what can we do to encourage this?
Well, there's a schism between people who are getting their special ed credential versus who are getting their general ed credential. So the people who are getting their general ed credential basically are going to have no background as far as coursework goes in positive behavior interventions and supports. Or they may get an hour or two on, here's classroom management strategies.
Yeah, i.e. no background.
Right, yeah. So, it's no background or it's minimal. If you're getting a special ed credential, usually you have a class in positive behavior supports, which may be from an ABA perspective or maybe not. It just kind of depends upon the program and who's teaching it. So most teachers don't have extensive backgrounds in a lot of the things that we're talking about. But I find that most teachers are pretty open to it. If you come in and you're not using a lot of jargon, and again, you're not arrogant and so on, teachers are often struggling. That's why we're there. So it's like they're usually pretty open to ideas. And it gets back to what are kind of the key things that we need to do. And first is talking about functions of behavior. So we need to understand why students are engaging in behavior, but also why are adults engaging behavior. You've got classroom assistants or speech therapists or OTs. You've got all these people coming in often in your class, and you need to look at, regulating and directing the adults as well as the students that you've got in your classroom. So it's, like you said, it's an OBM issue a lot of times because you're talking about managing not only students, but other adults in the class, and it can be stressful and difficult to handle. So again, we need to look comprehensively at what's going on in the classroom, but most teachers have little background in positive behavior supports as far as their coursework goes.
Yeah, and I would argue though, Keith, that, and I agree with everything that you said, that when you said most teachers are open, I would say they're open probably because of the way that you are addressing them, the way that you're coming in there and you're treating them with such respect. I know when I first started consulting in the classrooms, which I did not have that background, and I was told to go help this kid in the classroom, I didn't know what the hell to do, and I'd show up there in the back of the classroom and I'd sit quietly and I would collect data and I'd sneak out of the room because I didn't want to interfere with the teacher's instruction, and the teacher's probably like, what the hell is this guy doing? You know what I mean? They don't know me. What am I? Can you imagine just somebody showing up in your house and just sitting quietly and collecting data on something or your job or whatever it is? So, man, I was screwing stuff up a lot. And I'm certain that was not good for the science. People are like, this is a behavior analyst. What a jerk this guy is. I didn't mean to be a jerk. I just didn't know what I didn't know. And I was, again, suffering from behavioral myopia. And so they weren't open to the recommendations that I made. I didn't find out what was important to them. And I hear this a lot. I hear principals saying, do it for the students, right? I'm like, well, you can't make it about the students if you don't make it about the adults, i.e. we need to know what the reinforcers are. If we don't know those things and we don't involve them and make sure that they have a lot of say in what's going on, they're going to escort you to the door. And I actually had a teacher block me from coming in her doors. One teacher, it was one of the second ASD rooms I ever worked with, and they weren't doing a lot of stuff, just a lot of stuff they weren't doing. The kids were trying to escape all the time. And so there were certainly many things they could have been doing better, but clearly I didn't help, right? I did not establish myself as a reinforcer. I wasn't able to get them to engage in some behaviors that produce some reinforcing outcomes for them. And they blocked my access to the door, and that was it, man. I was fired.
Yeah, but you bring up a good point, is we need to think about reinforcers for the teachers and so on. And administrators and often teachers want a quick fix. So it's like, fix the problem, and they're looking at consequence strategies. So they're looking at the behavior is going to occur, and you're going to do something that's going to keep it from occurring in the future, which kind of limits what you can do. So you need to switch the focus over to antecedent strategies, but you also need to pick your battle carefully.